When you look at that mirror and recognize your anxious self, how do you really feel? Do you accept your anxious self? Or at some level, do you reject your anxious self? For most of my life, I definitely rejected my anxious self. In fact, I hated my anxious self. I didn't like that 7-year-old Curtis calling up my mom's office. He seemed pathetic to me. I didn't like that senior pastor who couldn't sleep. He seemed lame. I didn't want to have anything to do with those versions of me. Why did I find my anxious self so unacceptable? Well, I rejected my anxious self because I had another version of myself inside me. Let's call this version my idealized self. An idealized self is the image that I want to project to the world. It's how I want others to view me. My idealized self wants to appear strong, not weak. My idealized self wants to appear confident, not scared. My idealized self wants to appear calm, not sleepless with worry. My anxious self usually stands at the complete opposite of my idealized self. And so to the idealized self, the anxious self feels ugly. The idealized self compels us to reject our anxious self out of view. For many people, this battle between our idealized self and our anxious self goes on all the time. For much of my life, my idealized self won the battle. So I obeyed my idealized self and tried to put the anxious self out of view. It's like I banished this ugly creature away in the basement of my mind. But rejected and banished out of view, the anxious self does not just disappear. It just secretly grows larger and larger and stronger until at some point it bursts out of the basement and can wreak havoc. Can you identify that battle between your idealized self, the image you want to project to others, and your anxious self? What is that battle like for you? Let's take some time to reflect honestly.